Hi everyone, I'm Eric.
And I'm Christopher.
And we're Grow For Me Gardening. Today we're starting an amazing garden project.
And the first step is removing the Limelight hedge. Welcome to our garden here in Zone 5B/6A in upstate New York. We have been secretly planning a very exciting, tremendous garden transformation that we're so excited to share with you. Can you believe, Eric, that the first step is removing the Limelight Hydrangea hedge?
Yes, I can, because I am so excited about it.
You know, when we built our home in 2018, we were looking for some privacy, and we actually had never planned on putting in the fence. So that's why we chose 15 Limelight hydrangeas here in this beautiful row. And we love these hydrangeas, but gardens change with the gardener, and we have learned so much. And we're so excited to put on our thinking caps, be inspired by things we've seen, things we've done, and take you along for the ride.
Limelight hydrangeas are the hydrangeas that made me fall in love with gardening. They are so easy, they are so simple, and they are so beautiful. And we are going to take these hydrangeas out, but don't worry, they're not getting trashed. They are going to friends and neighbors. We have people coming over to help us today to remove this hedge. We're going to talk a little bit about the design that's going to be replacing this hedge a little bit later in the video, but before we do that, I want to talk about how we're going to remove them. Now, these are pretty established. They were planted in 2018, so that means they're 6 years old now. They were 2 gallons when they were planted. They were spaced 5 feet apart on center and 4 feet from the property line. Now we have a fence, so they're 4 feet from the fence. But back in the day, we didn't have a fence. And they have been pruned pretty consistently, uniformly over the last 6 years, so they're all about the same exact size. Before we give them away to friends and neighbors, we're going to take the hedge trimmer and cut off all of the faded blooms. Limelight hydrangeas bloom on new wood, so we can prune them back as hard as we want, and next year our friends and neighbors are going to get flowers. Now, we don't know what these root balls are going to look like. Hydrangeas tend to have very shallow root systems, so I'm not expecting us to have to dig super deep down, but I don't know, because we've never done it before.
Who knows how big these are going to be?
I know. So step 1 is going to be cutting off all the blooms with the hedge trimmer, and then we're going to get into cleaning that up, and then by that time, friends and neighbors should be here to help start the removal process. We are going to use our trusty battery-operated Ego hedge trimmer,
which has honestly spent more time cutting hydrangeas and catmint than anything else.
It really has. It comes in super handy, super lightweight, lots of safety features on it for it to work. I'm going to go ahead and just do a nice smooth cut, and the reason we're doing it is just make transportation and transplanting easier. So I'm just going to go after it. What do you say, Christopher?
I think we should go after it. This is a fun process to watch.
Here we go. We're all deadheaded, and we are ready for transportation and transplant. A good rule of thumb is to transplant or plant things in your garden 6 to 8 weeks before your ground freezes. I think we're right on that cusp here in upstate New York. I think these are definitely going to be fine though, because Limelight hydrangeas are very hardy. They're cold hardy down to zone 3. And in our area, it's about a 5A, 6B. So they're going to be totally fine, as long as when they're transplanted, they are very well watered until that ground actually freezes.
And with this mild fall that we're having, they're going to be perfectly happy in their new home.
Yeah, I think so too, because it is going to be about 70 degrees this week. I have been debating cleaning this up before we pull them or after. I think we're going to wait till after, and we do have to keep in mind that there is drip line in here. All of that's going to be taken out and replaced because it's about 4 or 5 years old at this point. And again, when we get to the design part of this, you're going to be so excited to see the amazing ideas we have for this space. It is now time to start removing our first Limelight. How are you feeling, Christopher?
I was thinking that I might be more emotional, like separation feelings, but we've been planning this for a while, so I think I've already processed.
Yeah, it's a little bittersweet, but I'm really excited because what's coming next is super exciting. So hydrangeas are notoriously shallow rooted. I don't think we're gonna have to go super deep. I'm interested to see the health of these roots. So I think we just go.
About, I would say, 1.5 feet out from the main trunk, and we'll just start seeing what we find.
I do think we're gonna find drip line.
That is for sure, cut right through it.
And I think we're probably gonna find some
I think I'm on drip line.
mice and vole holes. And again, these are gonna bloom next season no matter what, because they do bloom on new wood.
I saw movement. I saw movement.
Movement of the root ball.
Yes.
Oh, you're really in there. Now we have reduced the canopy enough to accommodate the root pruning. Wow, this is something very strong right here.
That's the drip line.
Oh, that's drip line. The drip line is very strong. I'm actually just gonna cut it. Oh, let me help you. Yep.
Very shallow roots.
Brandon, come on around this side and show everybody how shallow the roots are.
I would say the main root ball is about 1 foot deep. That's
Yeah.
it.
Huh, that's amazing. All right.
It's actually just held on. It's out of the ground. It's just under the drip line right there.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Do this side too, please. There's one coming this way too.
All right. You should be free.
Ready?
Be free. Be free.
Be freer. There we go.
We're out.
We got it out. First one gone. Look at that.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. We're going to load it in our wheelbarrow. Put it on the back of the truck. And wrap it up for protection during transportation.
Eric, this is amazing.
It's a big change. Let's talk design and kind of what we're picturing. So we love, obviously, hydrangeas. So there's going to be a lot of hydrangeas in this new garden space. I think we have like another 15 coming, right? But
I think at least 15 are
different
coming.
varieties of each one, and including some really amazing new varieties that are yet to be released onto the market. But I want you to picture another mixed border in this space. One of the reasons we wanted to remove the Limelight hedge was it was extremely high maintenance, which we don't mind because it was well worth it. But we wanted to go in a direction that gave us more layers, more color, more texture throughout all of the seasons during our garden season here in upstate New York. So imagine this bed coming out and undulating along, mirroring this curve so that you kind of come up this little path, brings you out this far. So like this is the deepest part of the bed here. So in my mind, we're just brainstorming right now. So this is the deepest part, probably 17 feet deep.
About that.
Right? So it brings you up and around. So you're led around this curve. So you can't see it from the street. You can't see beyond the garden bed. Then where this bed goes in this direction, this bed is also going to go in this direction. So here we're going to have a circle of lawn, in my mind. Maybe something in the center, maybe not. Maybe a little reflection pool, maybe a bench, maybe nothing. Maybe we keep it very simple, just kind of daydreaming. So then that circle comes back together here, narrows the path here. This bed takes off in that direction. This bed then comes back in, reconnects, and goes this direction, right? So then that gives us a little private nook here to play with. This is all getting cleaned out. Remember, we've mentioned many times that this is going to get redone. Really low maintenance evergreens that like it a little bit moist, like sarcocoas, like dog, hobble, other real low maintenance plants. We're going to leave the river rock here. I think we're going to leave the roses for now.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
This is all going to get cleaned out here, the iris and the Husker's reds that have made their way in front of the birch tree. And that'll be replaced with super low maintenance evergreens so that we don't have to go in there. And then that's kind of the plan. So that's the first vision draft is what I'm thinking. What are you thinking, Christopher? We'll switch places and I'll let you walk through what you're thinking.
Okay. I like all of this idea so far. What I'm taking note of is opportunities we have after doing our excavation. The hydrangeas came out so far over here, and I always felt like this was too narrow of a path, especially because there's a slope. So what I think we can do is actually tighten the bed this way in a foot or so and follow this side before it starts to go up. So keep this actually the tiniest bit more narrow to keep the width the same of this bed.
You're actually inspiring me to change my idea of the bed shape.
Uh-oh.
To bump the circle up closer. Can I show you? So if this all stayed the same, and these two came in like this, and then this bed went back out, kind of mirrored like what you said, but then the widest grass patch happens here now at the end of this pathway.
So kind of a landing from the side of the house and from the terrace, like a little calm space.
So these two lines will mirror each other.
Oh.
These two curves mirror each other perfectly. And then this goes in here. Some of this becomes grass again, right? So now we've got this circle of lawn right here. This is all lawn, 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 lawn. And then they just exactly mirror each other, but a little bit deeper on this side of the fence. Can we go look at the other side? I love the way the shapes have worked out on the other side. I love how when you come through the arch, it just kind of sways a little bit. These are much bigger swoops on this side. Whoop, hello, dear yard enforcer. Whereas they're like a little bit smaller on this side, and I would love to mirror this on the other side. So this kind of shape bed here is what I'm envisioning on that side, but it's how to get them to play together in a more narrow space. We decided to get some flags to help us, and my thinking is we'll lay out the flags at the deepest and shallowest parts of the bed that we're thinking about, and then kind of connect the dots in between. Right,
I think that's a really good idea.
I think it's going to come out to here. The deepest part of the bed will be here. And then as you're coming down this pathway, this is my one quandary, is I'm wondering if we come down this pathway, if I'm going to feel
limited. Interesting.
Do you know what I mean?
I do. I know what you mean. I don't think it should be the deepest part.
I don't think it should be, just for that reason. So maybe this is the deepest part of the bed. Right here.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good idea.
So this bed, I have 12-inch feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet wide, a 7-foot wide path.
7, 8. Let's
and
do
8-foot wide path.
8 feet.
So now this is
the new deepest part.
But then that makes this bed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and a half. I feel like that's pretty shallow.
That does feel a little shallow, considering trees of the size we want pretty much are going to get to 15-foot wide max.
But I like the depth. I like the width of this path.
I do too.
So let's be generous and do 6 inches.
Okay, there we go.
All right. So if this is the new deepest, then this is going to come around here. And then I don't think we should go any more shallow than this bed currently is. So this is going to be the most shallow, right?
Right.
So then we've got a curve to this bed. And then we've got a curve back, right?
Yes.
At this corner. But I did like your idea of having this follow along.
So this is my thinking where you are.
I think we need to cut all this out.
All of it has to go.
And it needs to gently curve around. But it's still going to come to this point though, right?
Yes, it'll still come to about there, but I think there's a lot of area to go.
Yeah, like all of this will be the same size. This comes up here. Christopher is much better with the curves. You'll see when he gets the paint out and he does the curves. This comes here. This undulates this way. And then this immediately has to start going back to here. Leaves a very narrow path.
Yeah, we can't do that. We need to make that path bigger.
This might just have to go in deeper then, and we'll have to bring grass back.
Oh, I expected that might happen once this excavation happens.
Let's walk it in Daydream Plants, Christopher. What do you think?
I like the idea of daydreaming plants after all of this
Removing of plants.
Paint.
So we know that we want evergreen anchor points. Obviously, we have one planted already. We have our emerald green arborvitae at the point. We're thinking of, in our deepest part of the bed here, not in the center of it, but a little askew, kind of like our Tromna spruce is askew on the other side, maybe right here.
Right, in that hole that's already dug.
Something narrow and gorgeous, something I think in my head like a firefly, like a firefly, it's not a spruce, is it?
Oh, the smaller version of a Skylands Oriental.
Yeah, it gets 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide. It's a smaller version of the Skylands spruce Oriental. What do you think?
Honestly, what I've had in my head for so long is a thunderhead pine.
Oh, that is great. That's in your head.
It's a funny thing. I love a Scotch pine, thunderhead pine, Japanese red pine.
I might be able to compromise with you on this. There is that Burke's red.
Oh, right.
That Isley has. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Very different texture, and it has those red new growth tips.
Yeah, although I do like a really architectural evergreen. So in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. But we have a lot of time to think about it.
And also, I mean, one of the things that I love a Vanderwolf pine, we already have one right here, so we wouldn't want to repeat.
Yeah.
Why not? But that is the kind of thing I'm thinking is just big. The Tromna spruce is going to get tremendous. I want something just as big that is showy and exciting.
And I want something that's not going to get as big because this side of the yard is not as wide as the other side of the yard.
This is true.
I want something that's going to stay a little more compact. This is going to be a smaller bed than the other side, in my mind. So the first one that comes to mind for me is Firefly. First one that came to mind for you is?
Thunderhead.
Thunderhead. All right. So we have some discussing to do. Vote below in the comments.
Vote below. And then
or add suggestions.
Right. But then we also have this other, now much deeper than you had originally anticipated corner, Eric. So what else would you want? Would you want another statement evergreen there?
I don't know. This is another good spot right here. I think to put some sort of evergreen. I really want to take the Moffat blue from on the patio up there on the terrace. And I want to put, excuse me, and I want to put it here.
Oh, I love that.
Because it stays very narrow, but it gets tall, and I just think it's a great place to tuck in here. Then we have the pussy willow, we have the Moffat blue here. This is all stone for drainage and runoff. Junipers do very well for us. And then all of this gets replanted with shady evergreens that like it moist, again, like the sarcocoa and the dog hobble. But then there would be another opportunity here. I do think whatever the two evergreens are, they should be opposites. So maybe we both get the evergreen that we want.
Oh, and honestly, if the one I want gets bigger, maybe we put it where you're standing there so it has more breathing room.
It just kind of goes right here. Because this bed, obviously these roses will have to move forward.
Right.
It'll have all of this space right here. It would be tremendous.
It would give me the ability to have a good, big evergreen.
Roses and catmint move forward. We do have a number of different hydrangea varieties coming our way. Some panicle, some smooth leaf hydrangeas. We have some big leaf hydrangeas coming. We have some oak leaf hydrangeas coming. So we're going to have little groupings of that. We are going to have some amazing David Austin roses coming. Have you heard of Danahue?
Oh, the new one. It's so unfair that David Austin releases things in England and then we have to wait a full year after the release to get them. So it came out last year. It's an orangey rose, a little paler in color than Lady of Shalott.
Yeah.
But we're going to be placing a bunch of those in.
That is really exciting. Now, I do have a bench from my grandmother, which it's a wrought iron bench. Right now it's currently white. It's at my parents' house, but I think we would refinish it and spray paint it black. I'd like to incorporate that into this new space somehow. I'd also like to incorporate some cement or cast stone structures into this space.
Should we look into something similar to our Jensen urn with the pedestal, but do a different urn and pedestal?
Or do we do it with water over here? Do we do a little reflection pond next to the bench, like right here?
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I also wonder, well, it wouldn't be difficult because there's electrical already run for our raised bed area.
Right behind you, there's electrical.
What if we did a fountain?
We could do another fountain over here. Would we do one with a basin on the ground?
Maybe at this deepest part here, there were beautiful low plantings with a smaller basined fountain right there.
Where I'm standing?
Yes, and then maybe where some of these plants are here, in particular, I'm thinking of those spilled wine weigelas that I haven't been so thrilled with. Maybe somehow we add the bench here and you're looking across the path into a bit of fountain, gorgeous tree, like that Burke's Red, and then just like piles of hydrangea and roses, and then any number of perennials you can only imagine.
Yes. Well, we do have a number that will be overwintering.
We do. I can't wait to put that string theory Amsonia in. They're so pretty.
That is going to be really nice. We also do have some Invincible lace left over. We have some really cool stuff that we've been like playing around with and toying with in our mind. But we're going to keep you posted all winter long about our plans and how we go about designing and implementing them. Obviously, our next step that we want to do before winter comes is get this sod out. And again, we'll give the sod to friends who need it for their yard. And then we're going to go ahead and get this covered in compost for the winter so that all winter long, the soil can get healthy and ready for us to plant in the spring.
I really like this.
I do too.
This feels really good. And actually, I do have this strong feeling about the bench over there looking at this new lots of stuff and mixing up textures, the evergreens. I like the small little evergreens, the Mugo pines, Anna's magic ball, all kinds of really good stuff. And I could just see them sort of at the edge, you know, surrounded by beautiful perennials, the roses. I'd love to get a Pugster blue butterfly bush section.
You and your butterfly bushes. I think we do have some on order.
Yes, the Pugster Blue in particular, this past summer at the Cape Cod Hydrangea Festival, we saw one at a garden center. And I was like, can we take this home, please? But we didn't. And now we're gonna have some. I'm excited to get the irrigation in here. We've learned so much about that. And again, this garden space is going to be us getting to flex all our new garden muscles, the things we've learned over the last 6 years on this property, and just getting to share all the way that we're gonna layer and the foliage contrasts and the fragrances. There's gonna be so many roses in here that smell really good.
There's gonna be a lot of pretty roses. We're gonna show you how we do form and texture and irrigation. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
And then eventually there'll be bulb planting and maintenance. And I think it's gonna be a really fun way to spend not just the beginning of next year, but the whole season long talking about how we create a really layered, sometimes deep, sometimes narrow, but definitely undulating and curved garden bed. And actually, there's one thing we didn't mention about the hydrangea hedge that was here that I cannot believe is gone. That happened
so quickly.
So quickly, it happened really fast. It was the only garden bed in our entire garden that it was a true straight line.
That's true. It was the only straight line in the garden, and no longer.
No longer the only straight line in the garden. So yeah, I can't believe, this is going to be surreal. I think once it's dug out and covered in compost, we're both just going to be standing up on the terrace looking out there thinking, all right, here we go.
I have a little mix of intimidation, but more so excitement.
A lot of excitement. It's the next day. I had to run out here and share with you the amazing progress that has been made on this project. We had enlisted some help for the sod removal and bringing in new compost top dress, and they happened to have availability the next day. So they just left. It looks incredible. Take a look at this. Here it is. They replaced the sod from the other bump, so this section's already filled in with grass. Now we're widening out to the grass circle, and then it necks down again to do this little bit of a path. But how incredible is this? Now, they went all the way down here towards the stone, and these roses, of course, are going to be coming forward. They might have something low in front of them. Maybe we put annuals in front of them. That's for another day to figure out. I did ask them to bring the Moffat Blue Juniper in the container down here for us. We're going to plant it right there in front of that green giant arborvitae. Color contrast is great. Texture contrast is great. Overall, this has taken my excitement about the project to a whole new level. Oh my goodness, it's so exciting. Thank you so much for joining us today as we get this massive garden transformation underway. Again, I'm Christopher.
I'm Eric.
And this is Grow For Me Gardening. Thanks for growing with us.